If you're still struggling to get consistent deals in your land flipping business in 2026, this video is going to save you a significant amount of time and headache. Now, most people get into the land flipping business thinking they're going to get instant gratification. And it's almost the exact opposite in this space. When we send direct mail out today, we may not get a response for 30 to 60 days. It takes 30 days to close. We put it on the market. Maybe we get an offer in another 30 days, and it takes another 30 days to close. Well, we don't get paid out for sometimes 6-9 months later after we send out our mail. But most land investors come into the space thinking, I'm gonna send out some text messages, or I'm gonna send out some cold calls or some direct mail today and get paid tomorrow. And that's just not how it works. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 5 tools that you'll need and we use in our business to generate consistent 6-figure months. Now, before we get started, I wanna emphasize that if you're struggling in your land flipping business, it's most likely not a marketing problem or a you problem. It's most likely a consistency problem. The number one problem land investors have when they join the space is consistency. They jump into one marketing channel, they think it doesn't work after 2 or 3 weeks, and then they jump to the next. They start with direct mail, maybe they jump to cold calling. After 2 weeks of cold calling, if they don't get a deal, they jump over to texting. If they don't get a deal within 2 weeks of texting, they jump over to RVMs, and they bounce back and forth, and what happens is they never get a deal. So it's not a you problem, and it's not a marketing problem, it's a consistency problem. So is there a business with every marketing channel? Of course there is. But what I think is the tried and true method, the tried and true marketing channel in this space is direct mail. So the first tool that we're gonna need in our land flipping business for direct mail specifically is a phone number. Now in our business, we use Quo, formerly known as Open Phone. It doesn't have to be anything special. Quo is about $9 a month. We just need a number that's separate from our personal number, so when people call in, we know why they're calling. If they call our business number, I know it came from a marketing campaign that we sent out, whereas if they call my personal number, I really don't know who it is. So we want to create a separate number in something like Quo, so when people call in, we know who it is that's calling. Now, the second thing we're gonna need is data. We have to actually find these landowners to send the mail to them. Now, we don't have to have the most expensive sites like Land Portal or Land Insights. Now, those sites are really nice and they're helpful, but if we're just starting out, we don't need to pay all this money. A site like DataTree is just fine. Their base plan is about $50 a month. It can do 99% of what all these other softwares can do, and it's a fraction of the cost. So have DataTree ready. We're gonna pull a list of all the landowners in a certain county or a certain area so that we can send our mail to them. Now, the third thing that we're gonna need is a mail house. We use Postcard Mania in our business. Again, there are hundreds of mail houses out there, but if you use Postcard Mania, you're gonna get a dedicated account rep that's used to working with land investors. So they know exactly what you need. They can help you set up your cover letter. They can help you set up your purchase agreement. If you wanna send postcards, whatever it is you wanna send, they can help you set it up. So when we're ready to send our letters out, we can send it out through them. Now, the fourth tool that we're gonna need is a CRM. Now, this is crucial in the land space. One of the things that's most overlooked by land flippers is the ability to follow up with leads consistently. What I see happen all too often is a seller calls in wanting to sell their land. We receive the call, and after a week or so, we forget to follow up. And after 2 weeks, we have no idea where that phone number is or where that seller went. So we need something to track our leads as they come in. Now, in our business, we use a CRM called Follow Up Boss. The most important thing in any CRM is that you have a Kanban board. Kanban board is just gonna track the deal throughout the stages in your business. Now in the Kanban board, you can set tasks or to-do lists or notifications to remind yourself to follow up with these leads consistently so nothing falls through the cracks. If we don't have a system in place to track all of our leads, it's inevitable that eventually some of these leads are gonna slip through the cracks. And that is potential money in your pocket that you're losing. So it is crucial that we have a CRM, specifically one that has a Kanban board. Now, Follow Up Boss is about $70 a month. You don't need one that's that expensive. Something like Podio is free, and you can create your own custom Kanban board. It doesn't have to be anything over the top, just something that tracks your leads in your business. Now, once you put a property under contract, you can create a separate Kanban board to track that property through the deal stage, right? As we send it off to title, maybe we get a realtor on it or photos or create the listing, whatever it is, we have to be able to track it through the stages. So it's important that we have our CRM with a Kanban board built in so we can track every single lead that comes through our business. After all, you spent the money on these leads. Don't let them fall through the cracks in your business. Now, the fifth tool that we're gonna need is a scorecard. We have to be able to track everything. What happens in the land space is we send mail out for 2 weeks, maybe we send a batch of 5,000 letters, and we don't get a deal, and we think it doesn't work. And maybe we revisit it 6 months later and say, well, I'm gonna send another campaign of 2,000 letters out, and we don't get a deal. That's not uncommon. That's why I mentioned that consistency is the #1 problem with land flippers. If you set a goal of 1,000 mailers a month or 10,000 mailers a month, whatever it is, it's really, really difficult to eventually not get a deal. So what happens is sometimes we send out a campaign of 5,000 letters, we go back and say, well, I didn't get a deal, I only got a few phone calls, this doesn't work. But if we tracked our scorecard on a quarterly basis or an annual basis, it's much easier to look back and say, oh yeah, maybe that campaign week 1 didn't work, but the campaign week 3 did, or the campaign week 12 did. So if I look back over the course of a year and I've sent out 100,000 mailers over the year and I got 5,000 phone calls and we did 50 deals, I know the business works and it's just a rinse and repeat. At that point, I want to continue sending mail, knowing I'm going to get the calls, knowing I'm going to get the deals. But if I look back over the last week and I see, well, the campaign I just sent hasn't really produced any phone calls and I haven't got any deals, you're not going to want to continue sending the mail. But if we look back over the course of a quarter or even over the year, it's very easy to see I've sent X amount of mailers, we got X amount of phone calls and did X amount of deals. So we want to look over a broader time horizon rather than looking at each individual mailer that we send out. So those are the 5 tools that we use in our business to generate over 6 figures each month consistently. Again, whatever marketing channel it is that we're going to do, whether it's direct mail, cold calling, cold texting, RVMs, PPC, it doesn't matter. We have to be consistent. We can't jump from marketing channel to marketing channel. So those are the 5 tools that are must-haves in our business and must-haves in your business: a phone number, a data provider, a mail house, a CRM, and a scorecard. Let's get these 5 things implemented in your business and start treating it less like a side hustle and more like a real business. Now, if this video helped you in your business, take the time, leave a like, leave a comment, check us out at landflippingsimplified.com, hop on a call with somebody on our team and see how we can help you out.